What if there was a simple dietary change that had the potential to correct just about every health issue that you're dealing with right now? Would you want to know about it, even if it sounded a little bit crazy? Because science is now proving that everything from inflammation to obesity, from diabetes to high blood pressure can be improved, if not reversed, by eating more fat. Hi, my name's Jason Carlton. I'm going to tell you up front that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist or a nutritionist, and I'm not suggesting that you start a diet of Whoppers, ice cream, and chicken and waffles. But what I am telling you is the low-fat, high-carb, calorie-counting diet you're probably on right now, well, why isn't it working for you yet? Why are you still watching how to lose weight videos? Why are you still beating yourself up about being overweight? Why is your doctor still getting on you about your weight, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and a number of other health-related issues? Come on, admit it. You've been told counting calories is what you need to do, but have you really done it? You've gone from one crazy fad diet to another. You've joined gyms, counted your steps, and you've bought every ridiculous piece of so-called miracle exercise equipment being pushed on late-night TV. And look, you're still overweight. And you've probably got other health issues going on besides your weight. When you watch this video to the very end, you're going to discover exactly how to lose weight fast and keep it off. And yeah, it has to do with eating more fat. Here, let me tell you a quick story about my own weight struggles. How I'd go from one diet to another, and they either never worked or I'd gain the weight back right away. Not only was I getting more and more disgusted with my weight, my doctor had me on blood pressure meds, and he was constantly harping on me about being pre-diabetic. You see, at the time, I was trying to lose 30 pounds. I figured if I got down to 160 or so, the doc would get off my back, and I'd probably look and feel a little better. Maybe I could start wearing some of those clothes I'd put away a couple of years before. But right about then, something else started going on that really bothered me. And this time, it wasn't just about me, my weight, or my health. This is a little embarrassing, but I really want to be completely honest with you. I got to where I couldn't satisfy my wife. You know, in bed, sexually. I don't want to get too personal, but let's just say my member just wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. I'll just leave it at that. And no, this isn't a video about that anyway. But because I was too heavy and unhealthy, well, I couldn't perform in the bedroom the way I could before. At least not in the way that took care of my wife, that made her happy. For me, that was it. That was the final straw. I was in crappy shape, and now I was desperate to do something. I wasn't ready to grow fat, sick, and old, and I damn sure wasn't ready to give up on sex. That's when I knew I had to make a change. So I went after losing weight more dedicated than I ever had before. So first, I joined a gym, and I worked out even longer than I did back in college. Well, that didn't work at all. I ended up just tired and sore. Then I tried calorie counting, and it worked a little better. But I wasn't seeing the results on the scale, really, and I was hungry most of the time. So I joined one of those prepackaged meal plans that they push on TV. But that just plain sucked. The food was bland, the meals were expensive, and just like calorie counting, I was hungry most of the time. Some days I felt like I was starving. That's when I stumbled into an old, forgotten diet from the 1920s. I thought, why not? Nothing else is working. And guess what? It worked. Yeah, I started losing weight within days. My doctor was blown away by the blood work the next time I went in. And my wife? Well, let's just say that she was blown away too. In a different way, if you know what I mean. You've probably already guessed it, but a big part of this old, forgotten diet, that's right, eat more fat. You see, back in the 1920s, scientists were trying out different diets to help children with epilepsy, the poor kids having those violent seizures on a regular basis. The researchers discovered that this one high-fat, low-carb diet not only nearly cured the seizures, the patients on the diet were losing weight, reducing body fat, and showing a lot of improvement with her cholesterol levels, insulin sensitivity, blood pressure, and with other health issues as well. The scientists called it the ketogenic diet, and since it's been rediscovered by the medical community, it's being used to treat patients who suffer from obesity, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and metabolic syndrome. Researchers are even discovering that a ketogenic diet has had some success as an alternative treatment for cancer patients, treating women with infertility issues and PCOS. I'll tell you about why this high-fat diet works and how your body uses it to lose weight in just a minute. But right about now, you're probably thinking something like, well, look, if this diet's so good, how come I haven't heard about it before? And the answer to that? The ugly truth about why this diet has been hidden from you and me for almost 100 years? Well, you can go ahead and thank the FDA for that. Or should I say, the corrupt, crooked, dishonest Food and Drug Administration. Yep, those greedy corporate lobbyists came along with bags full of money, and our government's FDA threw this diet under the bus faster than you can say, pass the butter, which, as it turns out, isn't really bad for you or your diet after all. Here's what happened. Sugar, or the sugar industry to be precise. Back in the 1950s and 60s, when researchers were concerned about rising heart disease, their research was pointing at sugar as the culprit, as the reason coronary diseases were on the rise in the U.S. The sugar industry came up with a phony group of scientists to perform some deceptive research of their own. And that's when the sugar barons came up with the idea to blame heart disease, obesity, and other ailments on fats. The sugar lobbyists paid off the government agencies involved, and our government has been pushing the low-fat diet on us ever since. Heck, they even put one of the phony sugar researchers in charge of creating the famous food pyramid that we've all grown up with. The chart telling us that too much fat in our diet was bad for us, that it would make us unhealthy and overweight, when in reality, nothing could be further from the truth. Since the FDA released their low-fat guidelines, obesity rates in the U.S. have gone higher and higher. When they started telling us to quit eating so much steak and bacon and eggs, as a society, we've continued to get even heavier and even sicker. For years now, they've wanted you and me to believe fat is unhealthy, when the facts point to just the opposite. Oh, and by the way, in the early 1900s, a typical adult ate about 20 teaspoons of sugar a year. And now, we're averaging 150 pounds of sugar per person per year. The real problem with your weight isn't